Hey, how's it going everybody? Artorigold here. I know it's been a long time since I made a video. I'm not gone. I was just out and sick for a while. I had COVID, but now I'm back. I'm feeling a lot better, and I'm going to be making a ton of new content for you guys. So while I am a support main, I often play a lot of tank, and recently Ramattra, the new hero, has been something that I've invested a lot of time in, mostly because he's just a lot of fun to play. I think his ultimate is one of the best things in the game right now, and it's nerfed. It got nerfed just recently, and it's still insane, especially when you're using it in a overtime situation, on the payload, on the point, whatever, whenever. And if you combine it with things like Lucio's speed boost or a nano boost from Ainz, it just goes crazy. I think he's a really good character, and you get the ultimate very, very fast if you can play him properly. I'm going to try to keep this video short because I don't like doing video essays. If you guys have any questions, feel free to leave them in the comments and I will be sure to get to them. I'll have some support videos for you guys soon on the channel, as well as some other new stuff that I want to try out. Also, this video is sponsored by Goblin Tech Keys. They're a really cool company that sent me some customized keycaps for my keyboard, all themed around Zenyatta, my favorite Overwatch hero. They have a ton of different other products you can check out. Everything is customizable, and if you wanted to get your own, you can check out the link below in the description and make sure to use the discount code Artori in order to save yourself some money. So let's go ahead and talk about Ramattra, some of his pros and cons. First up, you have the poke damage. This is something not a lot of tanks can do. Obviously, you have heroes like Reinhardt, who are super strong in the meta right now, but he's up close in melee. With Ramattra, you kind of play pretty similarly to Sigma and characters that like to apply damage and spam damage and poke people out of areas. He's also really effective at zoning. If you're not familiar with zoning, it's kind of a common fighter game term. It's basically just denying an area or zone that the enemy can kind of go into, and if they do, then they get punished. Now, there's a lot of little things I like to do with Ramattra that in order to min-max kind of like his gameplay and what he's able to provide for his team. But first off, I want to talk about when to pick Ramattra, one of the reasons you want to pick him for. Well, in this instance, and I'm going to go ahead and show you, I'm going to skip ahead a bit. Basically, we're going to talk about his ultimate. His ultimate is by far one of the strongest things in his kit. I like to play him on payload maps because a lot of payload maps are very wide open and you can just get a lot of value out of your long range poke damage that has no fall off damage, and then you're able to get your ultimate, which just is so good in overtime situations or whenever the enemy team is focused on one single area, for example, the payload, which is going to happen on any stage of this map. So you see here, I have my ultimate and I'm basically going to pop it immediately. And we're going to do a ton of damage. It's going to just be able to tear through people. I chase them down. And it's just such a good ability. They nerfed it, but honestly, it's one of those things where they need to nerf it more because it's just free damage. Now, there is one little tech that I would like to talk about first with your ultimate. You guys probably know it already. So one of the things you can do is you use your Nemesis form. That's step one. Then you can go and get your armor, get tanky, and that allows you to kind of engage on the enemy. Basically, what you want to do for your ultimate is get right on top of everybody so you're able to do more damage to more people. And then this allows you to close that gap by doing that first. And then when you use your ultimate, which is step two, you're going to be able to refresh your health and armor, or just your armor. You get that refreshed, so then you're able to have more survivability. And then step three, well, that's where you go in and you just kill everybody. Now, there is a step 4, which is kind of nice here, and I'll point it out to you. So when the ultimate ends, you'll get your Nemesis form back. So watch right here. My Nemesis form is done, right? And I get the Nemesis form again. So basically, you get 3 uses of the bonus armor. And that's one of the reasons why his ultimate is so good as well. If you feel like you're going to die in the middle of your ult, there's no shame in just backing off, hold down right click, and use your block. But that's kind of the small little thing that you can do with this ultimate. You want to try to get 3 uses of this in order to maximize your gap closing and your survivability. So as you just saw from that last clip, I just team wiped them, finished it up with the ultimate, and this is kind of where Ramattra is very strong. He has a lot of poke damage, a lot of things that he can do before the enemy can reach him. So right now I'm trying to rebuild my ultimate. You can see it's at 8%. And what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to use all of my abilities and I'm just going to try to get as much poke damage as they're trying to make the way to the payload, which, as you know, it's back here and around the corner. So while I'm doing that, I'm going to be using these two abilities and just using my left click, and I'm not going to be using my shift. When you're trying to build an ultimate, you really don't want to get into melee range and use your shift. I actually find it better to rotate these two cooldowns more than using this one. When I'm trying to build an ultimate, I like to save this for the survivability. This is my panic button. This is kind of my get out of jail free card. It can also be your aggressive play, but when you're at a ult disadvantage, because I just used my ultimate, and right now I know the enemy team has their ults. I got mine first, and now they're due to have theirs. So that means I need to really look to save this ability for my survivability, my own block, and just try to keep as much poke damage to slow them down. Basically, I'm trying to chip away at the time right now. So this is one of those things I was talking about earlier with zoning, and one of your best zoning tools, which is your E. And as you can see here, the Sigma actually falls, literally, no pun intended, but yeah, he literally falls for the E here. As you can see, he's actually using his ultimate. And as you know, Sigma, when he uses his ultimate, what does he usually do? Well, he usually flies up into the sky and moves around, and it's pretty difficult to try and cancel it because he's moving around. Like, you know, you can use an anti-sleep dart and maybe cancel it, but you know, that's not going to happen that often. But as you can see, the other effect of your E ability is that it basically forces people down. So this is a great zoning tool against Pharahs and Echoes normally. It can also work pretty well against other tanks, such as Diva and Winston, who are trying to fly or leap away. In this case, I'm actually able to get the Sigma during his ultimate, so it's really, really easy to get all this free damage on him, and he basically just whiffs his entire ultimate. But I was using it here on this choke point. Your E usage is extremely good on choke points for slowing down the enemy, and slowing the enemy also means that you can guarantee and land more shots on them. So it's really a very impactful ability that I think a lot of people sleep on. Being able to use your E efficiently it's insane. Like, this isn't going to happen that often, but the Sigma definitely learned real quickly that that was a big mistake. And then we basically clean up the rest of his team. They all run away. You know, what are you going to do? They messed up the ultimate. And I'm just going to get some cleanup kills. So here we have the next fight. The Sigma swapped to Diva, and I just wanted to bring home another point about the E ability. As you can tell, the Diva is just going to get slowed down and basically just trapped in this little room here because I have one well-placed E as she was trying to dive and kill my Cassidy. And because my pummel goes through the defense matrix, you're able to just do so much damage to her, and your ultimate does as well. And you're able to get a very easy, clean team wipe from that. This is just another good example. Same little choke point kind of area. Putting an E here, it makes it so Diva cannot escape. Even though she does have fly, it's going to slow her down so much. She's basically just trapped in here. She was trying to use her defense matrix and dive against the, not McCree, but Cassidy in order to kill him. And because the defense matrix eats all of the heals, you have a nano boost, which actually saves him. And basically is one of the reasons why the fight got turned so well in our favor because of that. So here, as you can see, you trap her, she tries to use defense matrix, and then because of her aggressive play here, where she gets punished because of my E, you also now see that the Suzu gets used, as well as the teleport from the enemy Kiriko, and this ended up being really devastating for them. Because of that Suzu, you can also see a couple other things that my allies do here, namely the anti. Because we just saw her use Suzu, my Ana is now able to use an anti on her, and now Diva is absolutely screwed, right? They have no way to cleanse it, so she's as good as dead. And here I'm just going to use my ultimate, which is always pretty good because as you can see, like, the point is super close, and they're all right there. And we already committed an ultimate such as Nano, so we're just going to go ahead and just take the free, easy fight here. And then I'm able to just push forward, no Diva suit. The Blizzard was a little bit overkill in my opinion, but hey, it allows you to win the fight, right? So it's pretty worth. So yeah, I basically just want to again emphasize your E is a very, very good ability on Ramattra, so don't miss out on it. Make sure to use it on choke points. The damage isn't quite there, but it's not meant for the damage. The slow is where it's at. So next up, I just want to quickly cover How I like to play Ramattra, especially at the beginning. As you can see, the attack side is now here. I am on the payload. Basically, I'm going to try to be using my ranged form more than my melee form. I want to use about 2 shields and 2 E's. The beginning of the game, everybody is alive, so it's mostly going to be a lot of DPS heroes. You know, you have people like Hanzo hitting headshots in the back, and so I got to play a lot more careful and try to use more damage mitigation and safer playstyle than just using my Nemesis form and just rushing in at them, right? I want to play very safe. I want to build to my ultimate, and that's when I'm going to try to make that big push. Because you're going to be able to get a lot of ult charge and keep everybody alive as long as you don't try to hyper and overcommit. Because overcommitting, I think, is Ramatra's biggest problem. Getting that tunnel vision, your Nemesis form really puts you in a bad spot because remember, it's a timed thing. There's only so much you can get done in that limited amount of time you're in that form. And so I like to be able to use my shield and my E because it helps out my team a lot more than Nemesis. And then I try to use the Nemesis form for a bigger chunk of damage mitigation with my guard. As you can see there, every time I get the Discord orb, I kind of back off. And that's a big thing for tanks right now. So as soon as I hit this, I see that Zenyatta, I just hold up my right click and then I just back off. Because now I don't have any way to kind of damage mitigate unless I have my shield. Obviously, those cooldowns aren't even up. So I want to make sure to back off anytime a Discord orb is on me. It only takes like 1 second to get it off, and it's going to be really helpful. And then he can apply it whenever you have your shield, which is another reason why you want to play that. But that could just be more of a specific matchup thing. But I think it's very important, if you're a tank player, to kind of just play it a bit safer. Try to back off if you get Discord Orb. It only takes 1 second of LOS. And then as you can see, I get my ultimate. And from there, we're really able to kind of just go in. But then I start getting as you can see right there, I got Discord. There it is. As soon as you get Discord, that's when you have to really be careful about overcommitting. That's when I start putting my hands up and I start blocking. But then obviously I get the nano and I'm able to kind of go in and commit on people. So yeah, whenever you're playing tank, or specifically Ramattra, though, you don't want to have that tunnel vision, and you don't want to just hard overcommit on people. It's a big problem. You're going to take a ton of damage. The enemy can kill you, or they can heal through damage, and you have no idea, like, what's going on behind you right now, right? Are your healers still alive? You got to keep all of those things into account. You have to really understand your LOS, because if you have an Ana on your team, and you're going around this corner right here, then you know, you're dead. Ana's not going to be able to heal you. She'll probably even get killed herself while you're trying to commit to try to go onto the backline supports back here. But yeah, that's a big thing to take into account when you're playing Ramattra. You don't want to overcommit. It's a really, really big problem.
That's a big problem when noob play Dota.
And it's how a lot of bad Ramattras get themselves killed. One other thing I wanted to talk about here is just how good your ultimate is in overtime, especially on maps like Push. If you're playing Push in general, I think Ramattra is especially good on these maps. Basically, you're going to win every single overtime fight if you get your ultimate. Because if your healers just have a little bit of healing, you don't even need that much, you're able to just kill everything. And it puts so much pressure on other heroes such as Genji and Lucio, who usually rely on high mobility in order to stay alive. And it doesn't matter with Ramattra ult. Ramattra ult is going to be able to kill through Lucio, Genjis, and any other high mobility hero insanely easily. And it's one of those things that I love about Ramattra. Basically, your ultimate counters all of them. It's also really good against other heroes such as Brig because you can just punch right through them. But in an overtime situation, you have a nano and you're just hitting Q. I mean, look at this. You literally don't even really need to hit the pummels, but if you do, it's just, you know, the cherry on top. And this is just insane. They may have nerfed this ability, but it's just so free. In my opinion, you guys gotta try out Ramattra. You gotta do it on certain maps because trust me, on push maps, payload maps specifically, Ramattra Ultimate comes in insanely clutch. Anyways, guys, that's all I wanted to say for this video. I know it was a quick one, but I don't like making 6-hour-long video essays anyway. I mean, who has time for that? So I wanted to keep it sweet, simple, to the point. Go play Ramattra. He's really fun. I think he's really good on the ladder right now. I will see you guys next time with a support video next, and maybe some other new things I'll try out. Anyways, guys, have a good one. Peace.